There I am. There I am. Hello, hello, hello. I need to actually fix the game capture because I was playing Virgil last time I streamed. Oh boy. Oh, it's been a while. It's been a while. God, it's been too long, actually. This was not supposed to take this long. I've kind of mentioned it, but a couple weeks ago, some family members got the C virus, so I had to isolate, and honestly, last week I just had difficulty building up the motivation. Truth be told, I'm not prepared anymore for streaming. I completely neglected to re-review Case 3 again, like I was going to this week. I'm still kind of fighting off a little bit of a sore throat. It's very much on the downswing now. And to be honest, I'm like half expecting to get a call saying I might need to leave early. I'm going to end a little bit earlier than I normally do on a Thursday, but god damn it, I made a promise. I want to come back to this. We're gonna see how far we can get into this, since I did, like, at least, like, 2 weeks ago, I did, like, re-review the case, so I think I still have a rough idea of what's... The problem with this case is that, like, I feel like I still don't really know, like, I still feel like I just do not grasp, like, the trick. I feel like I just don't grasp, like, how this, like, how the whole thing occurred. Like, compared to other, like, cases where, like, there's, like, a big-ass magic trick at, like, the Harville, I feel like I don't quite understand this one. Because one of the things they made sure to mention was that, like, yeah, no, it was definitely Odie Asman up on that stage. His fingerprints were at the scene, it was definitely him, so I'm like, having a lot of trouble, like, determining, like, the timeline of events, and, like, what happened, because, like, I think I know, like, how they, like, got Odie Asman off that stage now, but, god, 8/19 was the last time I played this game. Okay. But yeah, no. The alternative location from which the bird's cage could possibly have fallen the requisite 30 feet. Just as a reminder, more so to partially to myself, thought there was a piece of no, it was post-explosion photograph. They made a point to be like, hey, the world looks like it could collapse here. I don't know why. I think, like, for some reason, last time I streamed this, I was, like, thinking that this wasn't a 30 feet drop. They might have said, like, at some point, like, yeah, it's, like, 30 feet from the ground to the experiment stage. I just don't remember that at all. And if they did, I swear it was probably, like, a really passing, fleeting statement. So that's my defense, and just general tiredness last time, because god, I was not 100% there last time I streamed this late at night.
Take that!
The place I'm referring to is here! But that's... Oh god, why is my... Okay, my controller vibrating for a really long time? That felt like a lot longer than it should have been. Where the birdcage would have been to begin with. Which is exactly the point, my lord. Yes, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage. But we must also consider the height of the stage itself. Go on, Counsel. It turns out that the experimentation stage was built at a considerable height above ground level. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you'll see it's about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. Just eyeball the height difference. Okay, Great Ace Attorney Chronicles 2. When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. Speaking of steam, by Great Ace Attorney Chronicles on Steam today. God. The worst segue of all time. At that moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and we assumed there would be a void underneath. This birdcage and the one seen by the audience would fall almost exactly the same distance. Once again, my lord, This all points to the fact that there was not one birdcage, but two!
Objection!
My learned friend has no evidence that the stage has such a contrivance in its design. Someone is responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself, it's true. However, the stage still stands. Take a moment to look at the photographic print of the scene following yesterday's explosion. Good lord! The metal grill formed the floor of the machine is undone! Yes! Most likely blown open by the force of the explosion and destroyed the rest of the machine! I don't know why, that particular yes just made me, like, miss the time when Urinosuke would yell, "Yes!" as his objection. Why was that, like, the one done? That never came back once so far. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately! Mr. Drebber! It's you who built the kinesis machine! Say yes and raise your hand. Do it, Ryunosuke. Go back to your roots. It's only been like... Was it a full year at this point? Or... I don't think it was a full year. It was like... Was it half a year? Was it 9 months? I don't remember anymore exactly. God, I really did neglect to review the game. Which means that it was you who built the two bird cages that were used to carry out this deception. Whether Professor Harebrain's hypothesis is sound or not makes no difference. Because it's the construction of this machine that matters. A machine designed to take Mr. Asmon's light. And lay the blame firmly at the professor's door. Something that could only have been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber!
Objection!
I'm waiting for him to just do the robot. If my learned friend has reached the end of his wild assertion, the prosecution would like to crush the defense's argument slowly, but surely. What? Your argument fails to hold water on 2 counts. 2?! Firstly, before and after the experiment, this witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of staff in the exhibition has attested to that. I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment. In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages. Objection! I've already explained why he wouldn't have needed to! This part I think I have at least got down pat, but there was one thing I wanted to look at real... Yeah... Yeah, no. Well, the Asmon... Yeah, no. Alright. Because one thing I remember was that, like, they made a point to be like... Oh yeah, if you hit a birdcage in the hot air balloon, if you exploded it, like, if you can mix helium in such a way that it won't, like, you know, absolutely roast you like you're the Hindenburg. But they did make it a point to be like, but yeah, if you do that, you're still gonna get sunburns. You'll survive, but you'll get sunburns. But yeah, no, Oli Asmon here does not look like he's burned. So most likely he was in the birdcage on the stage. Because one thing I was just trying to figure out was that, like, early on before I, like, re-reviewed, like, one thing I thought was that they kept saying, like, oh, maybe there was, like, a body double up on the stage. Since he does walk up on the stage and he, like, does stuff up there, but they made it a point to be like, nah, there's fingerprints. There's fingerprints up on that stage. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, is there, like, a fourth party? Because one thing I kept, like, screwing up on last stream was, like, I don't know, I kept thinking there was, like, a fourth party involved in all this. Nonsense with the crossbow. That doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point. Ah! The second flaw in your assertion
There's a distinct lack of motive. Neither this man wanted to take the victim's life. He had no reason to do so.
A motive? Do I have to think of everything myself? Yes, Ryunosuke, you do! Welcome to Ace Attorney, my friend! Your descendants are gonna be struggling with this for so long!
I have here a contract provided by the witness.
What contract is this, Lord Van Zeeks?
Contract into which Mr. Drebber entered with the victim, Mr. Asman. It reads, Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations, government grants, or other income.
30%? Certainly very favorable contractual conditions.
There was one very important provision bolted onto that clause.
What provision?
Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive.
Well, that kills my initial thought. That kills my initial thought of, like, duh, he killed him to get more money, but...
In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void.
So you see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Asman's death.
Diametric opposite, in fact.
Ah.
Need I say more? Witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime. In short, the possibility of Mr. Drebber having done as he suggests is nil.
Ah.
It seems the defense's assertion was somewhat wide of the mark. Lord Van Zeeks, you will submit the contract as evidence, please.
Please do.
Contract between Mr. Asman and Mr. Drebber detailing the terms by which you profit from the kinesis experiment.
It's true. Let me look at that real quick. There's gotta be, like, some extra fine print.
Investor Mr. O.D. Asman hereby enters in the contract with the provider, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to fund labor and materials for the construction of a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income. Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive.
This is a pretty weak contract. It's pretty, like, succinct. But, okay. Credit is due, I'm not seeing the fine print right now.
Did I look at this before? Oh yeah, that was something that interested me before. Courtney Stevens. That's a interesting name change. Or, well, close name, you know what I mean. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the birdcage into the stage for the win of the Crystal Tower. He couldn't have done it. In any case, I have no idea what his motive may have been. There is one aspect of your argument. Still holds true, however. There were 2 birdcages. Prosecution is unable to deny that. I'm sure you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo. I have no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths too.
Well, it would seem the defense has no rejoinder to offer.
Well, I must say I'm a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. The prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think.
It's impossible that I'm the culprit.
Objection!
Don't even need me a weigh in now.
At the beginning of this trial, you believed that there was only 1 birdcage. And now we know there must have been 2. In other words, there's more to the demonstration than we realized at first. I think it's abundantly clear. The same applies to the culprit. Get to the point. Stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. Those circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself. It points to the fact that someone else was involved.
Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting...
Yes, my lord! Mr. Drebber had an accomplice!
Objection!
Really? Are we talking about a fourth party, or are we just gonna be like it was only Yasmin? The thing that should be dead obvious to everyone!
Accomplice now? Well, then I presume you're prepared for what's to come. Now you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else of the most serious of crimes. These accusations turn out to be false, but make no mistake. The prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander.
Well, Counsel? Do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter?
What do I do here? At the moment, this is a little more than a hunch on my part. I don't know for sure if Drebber had an accomplice, or even if he really is the culprit here. One way or another, though, I have to make my position clear. As a lawyer, what's my stance going to be? Did Drebber have an accomplice, or not?
I don't see a thing marking this as you're gonna get penalized if you say wrong, so... Nah, we're backing down.
Let's face it, I have no idea who his accomplice might actually have been. Which isn't the strongest position to be in, is it, Ryunosuke? Oh, come on, Ryunosuke, you've been in worse positions before. You don't even want to get me started on the worst positions your descendants have been in. So Naruto, think of the sword at your side. Kuruma is crying out. Sorry? Crying out for you. Show the strength of your conviction now as a lawyer.
Stop sniveling. Go up and stab a man with that sword. That sword has not had blood in so long. That sword has not cut a man's hair off in months.
Yes, you're right. The sword I inherited, which embodies the will of my best friend, is my own accomplice.
This sword is my accomplice when I cut a man's hair or something more important off.
I'm not sure that's quite the right word, but that's the spirit, certainly. The defense is ready to name Mr. Drebber's accomplice. Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. According to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. That inconsistency itself is a clue.
Counsel,
My lord!
you have received a stark warning already. You're nevertheless determined. But I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name, under threat of a single penalty, as it always is. They, like, do not do, like, bigger penalties like they do in the other games, huh? So, your answer, please. Who do you claim to have been Mr. Drebber's accomplice? Well, I guess we'll go with the obvious.
Take that!
Who is this person?
No one intimately related to the crime, my lord. It's someone you surely wouldn't say you don't know!
Yes, thank you. I'm aware of the person, obviously, but on what basis do you claim felon's involvement? Huh, alright.
Surely wouldn't say you don't know, would you?
Ah!
Okay! I was very much expecting it to be the obvious.
But,
I'm sure you simply slipped and pointed to the wrong person, didn't you? No other explanation.
no slip-ups this time, please, Counsel. Who you claim to have been Mr. Drebber's accomplice? Alright, if that's not... Shit...
Is this the point where we start, like... Because one thing I've been, like... pondering about is the whole, waxwork model thing. Surely they're not gonna have us be like, oh yeah, Albert Harebrain's the accomplice. Right? There's no way he's involved in... There's the way he's actually, like, intimately involved in that, so... It's either Courtney or it's Esmeralda. I'm just trying to figure out... Oh god, I don't know if it's gonna be Madame Tussbells or if it's gonna be Courtney, because like, there's good reason for both. I mean, they're pointing out the fact that the coroner's report is pointing out a major inconsistency, so...
Take that!
Maybe the person in question is... What's wrong, my Nipponese friend? Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. It's a little late for that. Of course I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. It very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me. Sure, it'll be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Miss Susato. I'm going to be on the shit list of every single person in the courtroom, but hey, Susato's on my side still, that's all I need. The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy. Alright then, here goes. You've kept us waiting long enough. Answer, Counsel, now. First I collude with Mr. Drebber in order to carry out this wicked crime. Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Sith!
What the blazes are you talking about? Dr. Sith!
Has the forensic investigation team the coroner who conducted the autopsy on the victim? We know there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? Accident happened in front of a huge crowd of spectators. The area was immediately sealed off. Everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could the switch have occurred? It could only have been in that team's presence. The schedule of the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Sith be summoned to the witness stand and wants to testify.
Naomi, how could you?
You got a nerve, lad! Stand up there, dragging your hands through the mud! I didn't mean to... I know the woman very well! There's no better day room worker out there! How dare you call her a criminal!
Naomi has nothing left to lose! She's already going to die from her past sins! She might as well just do a crime for the fun of it!
And friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night. The recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. One which the prosecution demands you address at once. Grave problem? My word. Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger? What?
Certainly if the birdcage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another, that cage must also contain the body.
And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone even remotely resembling the victim have been reported. Which means there was no one, dead or alive, who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Aslan. Ah! That's true! My argument is that there were 2 bird cages, there must have also been 1 person inside each.
Okay, now we're getting onto this point.
I don't know if I've got an answer to this yet, have I? I have to reveal that this body double system was achieved.
Evidence.
Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concerns by presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Aslan's body double.
Good gracious! Evidence? You hope this isn't filibustering, Council. Gore's expecting a name.
If you think you have relevant evidence, say it now. My double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage. Which means that any witness would only have seen them from 60 feet away. But who was it that appeared out of that explosion, some 18 meters above the spectators? Aha! My double inside the second birdcage was... I assume they want me to present the waxwork head first and glass comes later?
Take that!
You know the victim, Mr. Asman, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage. Therefore, he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contains something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the Crystal Tower.
Yes, Council, according to your somewhat elaborate version of events.
That body double inside the second birdcage was in fact...
Why is he so scared now? You were doing good reading those, Skay. Why are you putting the deer and headlights look back on?
Alright, Mr. Naruto. You're ready for this. I mean, wait, you know it's 1900s. There's not really much in the way of headlights, huh? So, what would the deer and headlights look be the equivalent of in the 1900s? Deer and war size? Steel yourself and come out with it. Thank you, Miss Usao. I needed that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was not as unbelievable as it may seem.
That thing there! When did they get there? Who put that there? Deer in the carriage lanterns. That's probably like the closest we're gonna get. Who put this waxwork model here? Someone steal it from Madame Toss Spells again. Christ, why is he keeping his eyes closed?
Objection!
Objection! Dead silence! Who the fuck put this here? This is more ridiculous than the time we put a whole carriage in the courtroom. Open your eyes and look into my Nipponese friend. Now tell me, what are you playing at?
Confirm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirits. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model.
No, don't go back to the weak slabs! Why do you go back to the weak slabs but not yes? Not proper yes pose.
Malinfact of an infamous London murder from 10 years ago. The Professor.
Objection!
Started by indicting the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime.
Now you're trying to rake up my past trauma? Now you've moved on to indicting waxworks? Yes, that's about the size of it! Yes, I'm just wildly accusing inanimate objects now! But why? And why this waxwork? It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less! What possible justification can you give?
If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber.
What?
Just days before Professor Harebrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Tuspells.
Did you say abducted?
2 days after the incident of the Great Exhibition, he returned to the museum. And the timing...
Is this true, Mr. Drebber?
Ugh.
At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again. But now the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double for Mr. Asman. Gah!
Objection!
Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? The witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. They did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner, a public stage in front of a vast audience. And that to effect the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe far-fetched tale? What do you decide? Hey, remember the jury exists?
Okay.
Wait! Guess you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible, much like everything else in the series! My lord! I need to speak, if you please.
Go ahead, Mr. Foreman.
Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. No! No! I was kind of enjoying the fact that the jury wasn't like completely rushing to the conclusion after every cross-examination last trial time.
Very good. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will say your leanings for the court to hear now.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty!
Suck a corn cob. Okay. Damn it! Not a lot of restraint as far as the jury goes in these games, but still.
As indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus.
I knew that was going to happen. It always does. Shall get through this, Mr. Naruhodo, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way, I'm quite sure. Yes, I agree. I'm going to have to appeal to the jurors as usual and see what I can persuade them to change their minds.
The defense will now embark on a summation examination.
I like how he didn't even need to say it. He's just like,
Yeah, I know this is going to go. You and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman?
we are, my lord.
Very well. In that case, I ask you now to state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you has decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime of which he is charged.
Official findings. Jurors' contentions.
I know that woman for years! She's never been an accomplice to anything!
Also, it's weird starting from 6. They're nonsense to think those two would ever be conniving with one another. Oh dear, this is most troubling. But surely the waxwork man stole something to do with the coroner, is it?
I have my own problems with members of the police. I don't trust them much.
Based. I've seen no rigorous proof that the waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture.
Isn't that without right evidence? He's not a proper job, is he? I won't have it!
Why are you suddenly putting on an accent?
Well, unsurprisingly, seems the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceedings has polarized opinion.
Given that his face's obscureness will in no way resembles that of the victim, I only applaud my learned friend's temerity at suggesting it as Mr. Asmon's body double. Yes, the applause is deafening. And yes, I know it seems extraordinary. But that's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue than anyone yet realizes. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Can't explain why at the moment. I feel as though there's a specific reason why it was used, but it had to be this model. Really? A reason why nothing else would do, you mean? Yes, I'm convinced. It's something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim. Revenge? Revenge for freaking him out? This is how Drebber gets back at the professor for freaking him out all those years ago. Well, if that's the case, we must prevent the trial, blah 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 blah. We must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs. Yes, agreed. I have to find a way out of this.
If you are ready, counsel, you may proceed with the summation examination.
Yes, my lord. That's his rebuttal.
I don't that woman for years. She never been an accomplice to anything.
Hold it!
The order of things seems to have changed around here for some reason. I'm glad we know he's calling it out.
I'm a cop, lad. The cop's discretion has been the rule sometimes when
Needs must. I'm a cop. I'm allowed to break the rules. Jesus.
What's wrong with that?
Where do I start?
I worked at the yard for 40-odd years.
That's even more than I thought.
We've only had a bunch of police service in town for 70 years, you know. Of course, times have changed. The public didn't trust cops back when I started. It was rough. We had to fight crime. We had to fight to win the public's trust as well. And when we did,
Did you? Did you win?
Prison status was in its infancy too, even more than it is now. And she spearheaded the revolution.
That's the Sith, you mean?
That's right. About 10 years ago now it was. But I was still a youngish Bobby on the beat. That's when she started making a name for herself as a top-class coroner. Now look at her. Head of the forensic investigation team. A woman, no less. You know how misogynistic this world is in the 1900s? Well, you won't hear me complain. So we all judged them back then, I tell you.
Can you tell me without holding that gun in the air?
Bang, bang! You're all out to uphold justice, lad. Full of vim, full of vim.
That's coming across loud and clear.
What nonsense do you think those two would ever be conniving with one another? Now excuse me while I read the news article from
Like 3 or 4 days ago, was it? Oh, wait, no, it has a picture of, Wait, no, is that the same? No, it's not. No, yeah, it is. No, yeah, that's totally the same. That's the same newspaper from, like, 3 or 4 days ago now. You're not up with the times, are you, juror number 1?
Hold it!
Ooh, there's a little bit of slowdown there, I think. That's weird.
We're only just starting to understand this case. What are you reading there, sir?
Man behind those mirrors on Solar Pond Street was caught in 2 days flat. That's real policing for you.
That's really not relevant to this case, is it?
Wrong there. Because it was Dr. Sith in charge of examining the bodies. There's evidence arising from her work that led to the arrest of the scoundrel responsible.
Oh?
That's right, oh! That woman is at the forefront of this country's fight against crime. Yet then she's somehow involved in this murky business of little old Tosh. Tosh!
That was up to me to press the jurors, not the other way around. Oh dear, this is most troubling. The child of the Waxwork man stole something to do with the coroner, is it?
Hold it!
Why would you assume that? Well, quite simply because that unsettling swindler has no relation with the woman, does he? True, as it stands, we don't know of any connection. Oh gosh, but would be delightfully romantic if they were somehow to have a mutual interest in the waxwork. Romantic? Ugh. Women in society such as myself views everything in terms of relationships, you know.
Ugh!
Well, you learn something new every day, even if you don't want to. One might wonder about a possible relationship between the defendant and this coroner woman. Or perhaps between the defendant and the handsome prosecutor just there. No. Woman, maybe more astute than I've been giving her credit for. That's a woman's stance. Perhaps demonstrating some connection between the waxwork and Dr. Sith would be enough. Yes, I agree. As soon as we have even a whiff of a connection, she'll be the first to know. I have had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much. I forget, can we present evidence? No, we can't present evidence here, so I can't just pull out the, killer autopsy report.
Hold it!
Those are our problems. Let's just say we have threatened to each other on numerous occasions while they've been performing on the street.
Are you in the same line of work as Drebber where you're also a scoundrel? Scoundrel magician? Why are magicians apparently scoundrels in the 1900s? Jurors would be very disappointed.
Right, I see.
Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audiences. We perform our great magic in parks, on street corners, and the like. The videos use any excuse to make our lives.
We'll come back to that.
Sometimes they even cook up a story to extort monies from the poor. Extort monies? Well, that's definitely not right. Yes, it is why I say that you trust the police, you'll have trouble. Meanwhile, claiming this waxwork ball was stolen to star in an illusionary spectacular. If they are so wild, I think I will take my chances and believe the authorities on this occasion. This is not the public at large view Scotland Yard, is it? Well, the police force in Tokyo is not even 20 years old, is it? Perhaps we should view what's happened here in London as a measure of what may happen at home. Yes, like a Scotland Yardstick.
Get out of here, Ryunosuke. That was the worst. That was the worst pun. In serious, these sort of puns, that might be a strong contender for the worst pun. God.
I don't know how a policeman would feel listening to the way this juror speaks about the force. I wonder if there's a policeman we could ask about that now. Hello? I'm sure he'd have a word or two to say in response.
I'm seeing no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture.
Hold it!
You claim the whole instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a trick.
I did, but there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there?
Sorry?
I grant you, given that this cage appeared from a missing explosion, there would have been no need to use a real person. The waxwork had been used. Gubber could at least have had the decency to make it look like the victim.
I'm not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency.
Boy, if you're going to make a claim about that waxwork being inside the birdcage, you need to give us some evidence. Without that, it's just not science!
I suppose we should expect nothing less than a logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society. Perhaps that means this line can be changed if we manage to present suitable evidence. Evidence that the Professor Waxwork was inside that birdcage. Can I produce that or not?
We'll leave that for later.
Well, I can say quite categorically, sir, that we have no such evidence at the present time.
That much was abundantly clear before that brassy proclamation, I assure you. Well, you can count on the fact that I shan't be changing my leading.
Oh dear, that proclamation was even brassier than yours, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, we have some evidence. Things might be different, though. Man, if only we had some evidence!
This is done without evidence. It's not a perfect job, is he? I won't have it.
Hold it!
Yes, why have you brought that corner to court with you?
The important questions!
Colonel Cobb, he's been going back on the farm. Take the most from me away from the town. He's about a nibbler, he is.
Yes, the nibbling seems to be taking quite a while. Maybe you could wait until after the trial?
Oh, I don't like the sound of that. You need colonels at times like these. Whenever something big to decide, the colonels always put me in the right direction, see?
The Colonel Cobb pointing in the right direction. You're talking about your cob of corn?
Nibble, guilty, bobble, nibble, not guilty, out.
Nibble, nobble, guilty, bobble, nibble, not guilty, out.
Oh, how long is this gonna go on for?
Perhaps it's akin to fortune telling with flower petals like people do back home.
She used 2 corns on the cob there! Professor Hairbrain's fate to be decided by a cob of corn. You gotta at least wait until you have more time to find the truth before deciding the defendant's guilt. That's not a jury style. Oh, I don't know about that. My time's awfully full already.
Maze. Boo! Boo this man.
It seems a little far-fetched to think that the waxwork model of the professor was in that birdcage. On the other hand... Boo! It explains a lot.
There really is a reason why that particular waxwork had to be used as Mr. Asmon's double. We must do everything we can to make the jurors understand it.
Truth is, I'm sure that's the key to this. It's the most puzzling part of it, too.
In that case, you should see what additional information you can glean whilst trying to change the jurors' minds. You can read a book while eating a rice cracker, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sure you can do this. Damn, Ryunosuke eats while he reads a book. Right, yes! How you doing? Give me some rice in a book!
Hold it!
First of all... Actually, I have something I'd like you to see, sir.
Oh? I must warn you that I firmly believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats.
You are wearing black!
So given your jet black outfit, how might I make to a sense of trepidation here?
The prosecutor is wearing black! The defendant is wearing a white coat! You don't trust anyone in black? Looking in the mirror must be very trying. You have some evidence that proves the waxwork is inside that birdcage. Namely... glass!
What's that? A piece of glass? This is usually thick for glass.
Yes, it's a piece of broken glass we found inside the jacket and the waxwork. As you say, it's not ordinary glass, though. It's very thick and clearly made for extra strength. Much like the special glass that was developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower. You almost say it's glass from the Crystal Tower.
Holy smoke!
Exactly! The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition, where the very incident we're talking about took place! On the day in question, the birdcage fell from above and smashed through a window of that special glass.
Once a small piece originated. Is that it?
Precisely! So what do you say? Not clear evidence in support of the assertion has been placed before you.
Well, as I said, I only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, when the reasoning is sound, it's fair to say color shouldn't come into it. The level you've shown me here, yes, I feel obliged to change my position on the matter. In that case, juror number 4, you will amend your statement now, please.
The presence of that piece of glass leaves me in little doubt that the waxwork was indeed inside that birdcage.
I'm not to say not guilty, but...
Hold it!
Thank you for reconsidering your position, sir.
Your words are misplaced, boy. My opinion is governed by logic and science and nothing else. I'm all about facts and logic, God. Yeah, science is where you should direct your words of gratitude.
Ah!
What's the matter with you? Too good to say some words of thanks to the mother of all academic subjects!
What's that about scientists? Honestly!
Fucking science.
Hold it!
Alright, let's have some fireworks.
Not in my day. Excuse me.
You have something to say in response to that, Mr. Automole? We call him mass murderer! At least he knows that. Ah, sorry, my mistake. I got confused because I heard you looked like him. I don't look anything like the man! You'll be locked up, son!
Thanks, Mr. Sholmes.
Guess we could move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what juror number 3 just said. Why are you spinning the gun like that? You're not Revolver Ocelot! And clearly you do. Back in my day, back in the good old days, it wasn't like this. Where'd the gun go? You better not have lost it. You better not spin off your finger off to the jury or the audience. What was it like, sir? We put our fingers in the bone there in the public trust, we did! If that job, we earned it! People respected us back then! Respected you? Remember I say, no one called a coroner to question in them days! Coroner's report was the hallmark of investigation done right! Especially when Dr. Courtney Stevens put her name to it. Oh, there it is. You're the best of the best! The apple of force's eye! Hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Who's Courtney Stevens? Ah, sorry. Got me carried away there. I forgot her name was Dr. Naomi Kirishima now.
and not Nozumi Weaver.
Stevens is Dr. Sith's maiden name.
Maiden name?
That was before she was married.
Of course, yes. Silly me. It's Sith now, isn't it?
Stevens.
You know... What do we know?
Sure, I've seen that name somewhere recently.
Hey, where the play is, those were the great days of policing. Not like now.
Sorry to interrupt, sir.
You get married and change your whole last name. Yep, as you do. Everyone does it. You don't need that old name anymore. You don't need the full. You don't need all those names anymore. You just take on new last name. It's not enough. You gotta take a new first name. You gotta take a new middle name. Just take on a new identity. You don't need your old identity anymore once you got a man.
Do you think you can change your statement and glue that name? Well, yes. I don't see why not.
New marriage, new you.
Just quite a Stevens back when I knew her, of course. A legendary coroner even then.
Hold it!
Girl, get out of the program. Get out of the program. Change your name. Make a new identity for yourself.
She was legendary, was she? What you say? Ah, that woman is still the best coroner on the land. Head of forensic investigation team.
Legendary's your description, sir, not mine.
Rubbish! That would never pass my lips. I never describe anybody that way, ever. Now they were still in the game.
I think the point you're trying to make is that Dr. Sith is an extremely talented coroner. Would that be fair, or are you going to forget this as well? Do you need to see ye old doctor for your ye old Alzheimer's? No, is it Alzheimer's or ye old Alzheimer's, ye old dementia, something like that?
It would. It wasn't the fact that you tried that legendary woman's reputation in the mud.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that legendary. Isn't that one of them?
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other!
Good gracious! To whose statements do you refer, Counsel?
You can put down your coin for a moment, juror number 5.
Stop that.
Get out of here, we don't... God, we don't need you eating on stream, that's my job.
Oh, you mean me? Well, that's wrong to make an accusation without evidence.
The accusation of the waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question.
Not without supporting evidence, as the defense demonstrated the juror sitting beside you. Oh, is that right?
There we go. That was a lot louder than it normally is. Might have to fix that later, but for now, it's snack time. No sound? Oh shit, that didn't make a sound on stream? Huh? You didn't hear that? Oh, you didn't hear the alert? That's weird. It definitely like showed on my thing.
I'll have to figure that out later. For now, though. That's not playing through desktop audio? That's weird. Did somehow, like... Let me check something real quick. Has been a while since I logged on to Stream Elements. I wonder if... That's probably not the problem, but... Out of sheer curiosity, let's put these like that instead. If I do this, does this show up now?
Finally, they're drinking it.
Drink it, drink it, drink it until it's gone.
Did that come through that time? Okay, we have sound. It does in fact work now. Alright. Wonder why... I've had like... Because I had the alert boxes on monitor only, mute output, but I could have swore that like before... But I think I've had that on that before for a while, and like it always worked before. I think it came through like the desktop IO before, but this time it just didn't. So I had to put it on monitor and output this time. Wonder why that changed. Like, I had a similar problem, like, back during, like, the Persona 4 stream, where, I thought I had double audio, but no, it was coming through the desktop audio, I think? I don't remember exactly what the problem was back in Persona 4 when I did, like, one of the fighting game segments. I had to, like, upload the fighting game segment as, like, a separate video just to have the full audio, but weird. So weird. Alright. Now I need to actually go get myself a drink of water, because I actually did not prepare myself a drink of water out of all things. BRB. It's time to drink. Thank you for the hydrate. Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument? I don't understand much besides Colonel Cobb, to be honest. Of course you don't!
I gotta interject here.
Please do, sir.
Now that this assertion of yours about the waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence, it would be wrong of me as a man of science not to pursue the matter further.
Why do we need to pit you against the little girl for that?
Ah, well,
Me too, then.
sorry? This brain gentleman says he's right, then he must be. See, I know I'm dumber than him. I'm probably dumber than everyone on this
Stager thing.
I wouldn't dream going against Colonel Cobb or anyone who's got something between the ears.
She means, like, actual turkey stuffing.
Success! If you can call it that. Well, of course, if you got some evidences, that's a whole other cop coin, it. Lovely job.
Possibility has been established reasonably and logically. It now warrants further research.
Hold it!
Oh, wait, shit. Wrong button.
Objection!
Okay. I was thinking, like, I feel like I'm forgetting something here. I feel like I'm missing a step, but maybe not. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Oh, gracious! To what statements do you refer, Consul?
So, juror number 2. Oh, gosh, me? What can I do for you? I presume you heard what juror number 6 said in his statement? It's brought to light the maiden name of the coroner, Dr. Sith, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before. Well, naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connections and relationships irresistible. Oh, golly, I'm afraid I failed to see what you mean. Dr. Sith's maiden name is Stevens. Through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it. Ah, goodness, evidence, you say? How utterly enthralling!
Counsel, the court cannot overlook that last remark. I very much hope there is substance to your claim.
Of course, my lord. I've asked the court to look at this. The evidence that clearly links Dr. Sis to the mass murderer known as the Professor.
Take that!
I have here a certain autopsy report from 10 years ago.
10-year-old autopsy report? What relevance does that have?
It is, of course, from the autopsy of the person portraying the waxwork. The killer known as the Professor.
Professors... But the man was a capital offender, so...
That's right. This is the certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives few details. But what's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens. Oh my, Courtney Stevens! Strike a light! The piece of the professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Sith 10 years ago. A few days ago, Mr. Drebber very deliberately stole the waxwork of the professor from Madame Tuspel's. A waxwork that doesn't in fact resemble the victim, Mr. Asman, at all. Do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between these events? Absolutely, I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the Professor case is at the heart of a link that we've yet to uncover. Between Dr. Courtney Sith and Mr. Enoch Drebber. Hidden links, mysterious connections, secret relationships. This is all most extraordinary. I am very much a gossipy hen for the 1900s. We're surely obliged now to explore this further. Right, we can't let this trial come to an end now. Now while there's this cloud of suspicion hanging over the yard's best corner. It wasn't like this in my day, but we're still here. They'll pull justice at the end.
Thank you, Counsel, that will do. As a result of the summation examination, the jury's overall leaning has changed. 2 jurors now called guilty, against 4 who call not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach a consensus at this time. The trial must continue.
We did it!
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Another wonderful victory. A waxwork of the despicable professor. Used as a body double for the victim in this quite extraordinary case. I must say, it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true. However, it would appear that it does at least warrant further investigation.
It's waxwork of the professor at least Mr. Drebber and Dr. Sith. And I'm convinced that there's such a significance to that link. I don't know what you're hoping to prove, lad. I really don't.
Truth, sir, by using evidence as a testimony. The course to delve deeper into the alleged involvement of the waxwork in this case. The prosecution calls for the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness.
The owner?
Madame Tuspel's.
I really thought that Lord Van Cease would object to this whole line of inquiry.
Very well, I concur. Make arrangements for Madame Tuspel to appear as a witness with immediate effect.
Wait, we're bringing in Tuspel? Listen carefully, my learned friend.
Oh, yes?
You should know that you're on the brink of opening Pandora's box.
Court shall now adjourn for 45 minutes. During that time, the prosecution will summon a new witness and prepare her for taking the stand.
Madame Tuspel's, yes. I shall see to it at once, my lord. 24th of October, 11:53 a.m., the Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber.
Ah, the errand himself!
Oh, have you been watching from the gallery, Mr. Sholmes?
I've been on the edge of my seat the entire time! Courtroom trials are fascinating affairs. As a spectator, at least.
You're not even enjoying yourself. I have to ask. What on earth is going on? It makes no sense! What's this professor business all about? He doesn't look like any professor I've ever met before! Who even is he? Ah, of course. You were in Germany already 10 years ago. I thought Albert Harebrain kind of knew about the professor case?
Yes, Professor. When I discovered he was the one who had been abducted, a sense of foreboding stirred within me. Who knew the monster would come knocking at your door? I heartfelt sympathies.
As it turns out, Lord Van Zieks is even more intimately tied to this case than any of us realize, isn't he? Yes, how true. His great friend from university in the dock.
And now Waxwork, the killer who took his esteemed brother's life, makes an appearance too. Imagine even the shrewd Mr. Reaper failed to foresee that kick in the teeth. An extraordinary move on your part, my dear fellow. Well, that for the man.
It may sound deliberate. I can't help feeling that this professor case is really very puzzling.
Oh yes? In what particular manner?
You very clearly don't have that pipe in your mouth, Blah, Sholmes. God, I was about to call him Professor. What is he a professor of? Oh, there's Mr. Drebber, Dr. Sith, and Lord Van Zieks. Seems that everybody in the trial has a link to the case somehow. I forget, does Sherlock Holmes from the books, like, actually have a PhD in something? I feel like that was a thing, but I don't remember exactly. Oh no! Yes, in fact, I alone am now a member of the sect!
Hold up.
This year he did study chemistry, but... I see some things that say, like, the books never expand upon it. I see some things that say he's a chemistry student. I'm also not seeing anything about being a full-on PhD or not. Yes, in fact, I alone am not a member of the set. No, that leaves me as an empty set, all alone with no intersection to any other. You're kind of just a fall guy, huh? Excuse me. Oh, hi! Hi! What do you think of the accusation? Dr. Sith!
Ah, Dr. Courtney Sith! Nay, Stevens. Good day to you.
Oh, hi, why is my glasses on? Those should not be on. I don't get why, like, when I'm on OBS, like, if I hit my little glasses button, it doesn't put the glasses on me. But everything else, it totally does. Well, Sholmes, that's very shrewd of you.
One particular prey.
You requested that the 10-year-old autopsy report from Gregson, didn't you?
Why would you assume such a thing?
Because Gregson told me. My glasses have a mind of their own. Oh no. Glasses just jump on when they feel like they're really clingy. This is why I can't wear this is why I can't wear these goggles. Glasses get really clingy now.
I think it's been 10 years. 10 years in the laboratory wielding my scalpel, listening to the voices of the dead, trying to solve that bombing. I mean, what? I smell nothing but corpses and disinfectant. Policeman of the jury had a lot to say about you as it happens, Dr. Sith. And I've accused you of being complicit in what happened. Hope that you'll take the stand and tell the truth about what really happened. That certainly won't be possible. I'm going to lie my ass off. I have surgery to help a doctor perform. Lord Van Zeeks won't be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart has forbidden it. What? Lord Strongheart? Pandora's box you were warned about is the Professor case. But please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get information about it out of me. Trying to hide from the truth. It's cowardice. I've always fought crime in the way that I see fit. I have no regrets. None at all. And that's all I came here to say. So, good day to you. She mentioned it too. This Pandora's box. What does it all mean?
That's really no cause for concern. I assure you, when the trial resumes, the meaning will become all too apparent, whether you'd like to or not. Or you'd like it to or not.
Huh?
Now then, I believe it's almost time. I must make my way back to the public gallery. The edge of my city awaits!
I think maybe you're enjoying yourself a little too much.
Ah yes, one more warning before I go. If in the course of the trial this afternoon you perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone.
Like a hound with a basket. Vil. That doesn't work.
To the bitter end, you understand? Do not falter, wherever it may come to pass.
Alright, I understand. Thank you.
Good, I shall make myself scarce then.
Oh no, not the caramel again!
Purchased a bar of caramel earlier. Shall be gnawing on that as you gnaw away the truth.
Are you going to stick that in something? Are you going to do some trick with that caramel again?
What did that warning from Mr. Schultz really mean, I wonder? Especially the bit about whatever may come to pass. Time for the final chapter, then. I'm determined to find the truth. No matter what.
October, 12:40 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom.
Still here.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsel for the defense and prosecution, are you ready to be able to continue?
Prosecution is ready, my lord.
Yes, my lord. The defense is also ready.
As the court is aware, the case under our scrutiny began with a damaging incident at the Great Exhibition. But we now find ourselves important in the details of a convicted felon who was sent to the gallows a decade ago. The trial certainly defied all expectation.
It seems to be the fate of all trials in which this Nipponese is involved, my lord. Elvis doesn't pass down to his descendants.
So then, let's begin our explanation of the defense's assertion that the waxwork was cardinally involved in this matter. Lord Van Zeeks.
My lord.
Are we still awaiting the arrival of Madame Tussbells?
Not at all. She is in the antechamber as we speak and ready to be summoned.
Very well. Bring in the witness.
At once, my lord. Bailiff, show Madame Tuspels to the stand.
Things are about to become a lot more intense. If Drebber's responsible, as I'm sure he is, it means he must have had an accomplice. Dr. Sith.
What connects the pair of them is the waxwork.
Yes, the model professor. That's key to the link between these otherwise unrelated individuals.
It's a tenuous link, admittedly. Present is all we have to go on.
Oh, she's preparing the cast for when she makes Herlock Sholmes into her new waxwork model.
Say your name and occupation for the court, please. My name is Madame Esmeralda Tuspels. I am a waxwork artisan. The proprietor of the Madame Tuspels Museum of Waxwork.
Ma'am.
You have to pardon me for working as I testify. My new exhibit must open very soon.
Oh, so he finally gets a statue, does he? Now there are two of them in the world. The horror! Oh my, what expression is she carving onto that face?
A number of days ago, a particular waxwork model was stolen from your museum. Can you confirm this? Oui, that is true. At first, we believed it had been kidnapped.
Waxwork model? Kidnapped?
Yes, my lord. There was a demand for ransom money left behind by the culprit. However, according to what I have just been told outside the courtroom, that was not the true reason. I understand it was utilized as a substitute for the body of a murder victim? At present, that is not more than conjecture proposed by the defense. This is the victim of the case in question, Mr. Odie Asman. Of course, I know him well. He's part of my odious personages exhibit.
We're really just throwing that out there, making the pun a bit more obvious.
Necessity was evident, but Mr. Asman does not resemble the professor at all.
Yes, but perhaps their faces are very similar.
Are you suggesting that we should see now the masked visage of the professor?
Wait, she actually has the key?
I have the key, but it's strictly forbidden to open the lock.
This is absurd.
Pardon? I don't know what face you've carved onto your fancy figure beneath that mask. Clearly, it won't be that of the actual killer.
Indeed. The man's identity was never made public, after all.
The trial took place in a closed court. Proceedings were strictly confidential. The dead man was summarily executed. His identity remains a closely guarded national secret. There's no possible way that There's a possible way that a repository of tawdry exhibits could get its hands on that information. What dommage. It seems you're unaware of the Tuspels' principles.
Oh? What principles?
Family Tuspels has always prided itself on sculpting its models à la perfection. Every detail, including the visage, is fashioned with complete fidelity. Voila, our principles. There's a well-known legend about the Tuspels waxworks from the time of the French Revolution. A member of the Tuspels family is said to have made a waxwork of the Queen who was executed. Oui, that's true. It was a century ago now. I believe the Queen's face was carved in the mist following her death, actually at the guillotine site. You are correct. The model is on display still today in the House of Horrors. The Tuspels will stop at nothing to obtain a faithful replica of our subjects.
Dear me, somewhat disturbing tenacity of purpose.
It's the only way to obtain a truly lifelike representation of the subject. And it has been my family's secret for generations.
Do you mean to say that beneath that mask?
Oui, the true visage of the killer is there.
This is ludicrous. It's out of the question.
Professor spread terror throughout the Great Britain. As a result, the Madame Testbell special exhibit remains extremely popular, even today. The killer, emerging from his own grave, is a sight to behold. You should come.
I think, madam, it would be beneficial to hear your formal testimony on this matter. You will explain every detail of this macabre model and your personal involvement in its creation.
With pleasure. Witness testimony. Professor Waxwork. The special exhibition, The House of Horrors, is based on a rumor that shocked society in London. The impression of the visitor was taken directly from a corpse, in accordance with Testbell's family principles. Let's see the grave digger and create a mold for the head in the cemetery just before the intermission. She literally just confessed to the fact that she got a grave digger involved! I hid myself until he gave me a signal. I was there for a very long time that night. As dawn approached, I was very worried I could be discovered.
Gravedigger! That sanctioned this?!
I'll do all that is necessary to achieve the true resemblance my family is celebrated for. Nobody else knew, only the gravedigger. What harm did it do? What harm did it do, Truly saw it. Face that monster! Naturally, I was aware of the time that his identity was a secret. Testbells would not be Testbells if we did not insist on absolute fidelity to our sculptures. I don't believe this.
I myself have seen the special exhibit at your museum, madam. Truly blood-curdling scene in which the murderer is emerging from his own grave.
See, it depicts was the subject of many rumors in London 10 years ago. I have here a newspaper from the time. Oh, I want to read the rest of these. Was the ball mask to blame for the Great Blaze? Ball mask? Is this some sort of mask predecessor? By that angle, the popular theory continues to draw attention to reports that Her Majesty Queen Victoria herself visited the Royal Italian Opera to inspect the site and offer words of condolences to the theater's owner, Mr. Frederick Guy. Frederick Guy? Oh. The theater had been under lease to famed magician John Henry Anderson, and there is some speculation that the blame for the fire lays squarely with him for his insistence on holding his ball mask there. Nope, it's not a person, damn it. Whose magical tricks have played a trick on him, causing the City of Great Center for the Arts. Investigation of the true cause is expected to continue the next month. If that... Blah, 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 blah. There's not really a way to, like, hide the, oh, no. No, yeah, no. It's not really a way to hide the, text box, unlike other visual novels, huh? Special exhibit was based upon the picture in this article. It was the most detailed account of what happened as reported by the eyewitness who saw it. 10-year-old article. Newspaper article recounting the tale of an eyewitness to the alleged resurrection of the professor from his grave on the night of execution. Man rises from the grave. It's too absurd for words. Okay, why did that not... Alright, let's see. Mass sheep rampage! Unexplained phenomenon grips Oxfordshire region. Those report of most remarkable circumstances in which folded sheep were seized with a sudden fright. Let from field pens. Blah 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 blah. Why can't I read the rest of this? I want to read more about rampaging sheep. Damn sheep. I thought it was only the goats they need to worry about. Charles Darwin received Copley Medal. This year's recipient of the Royal Society's most prestigious award, Sir Charles Darwin, for his highly important contributions to research in the field of geology, zoology, and botanical physiology. Sir Darwin joins the ranks of such monumental figures. Leon Foucault, blah 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 blah. We don't get to read the full paper. Buy your own paper. The Great Stink. Parliament is to finally address the foul issue. After a great many years, Parliament has at long last resolved to relieve the citizens of London of the horrifying stench that carries on the slightest breeze and lingers in the nostrils of every man, woman, and child. A great sewer system is to be built underfoot and will divert. Jesus. We're finally going to have plumbing! Krakatoa eruption! Wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. Wait a fucking minute. What's this? Why is ODS signature on this? Public joy absurdity, monsieur. You should see how well this series sells. That's why I've reproduced the scene as carefully as possible in my museum. It's a waxwork from the exhibit that was stolen some days before the incident of the Great Exhibition, wasn't it? That's correct. The professor you see before you here.
Most puzzling. Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination.
This waxwork links Drebber to Dr. Sith. And there has to be some reason for that, which hasn't yet come to light. I'll find it. I'll get to the bottom of what really happened. I'll prove that Dr. Sith and Drebber were in on this crime together. Professor Waxwork. Special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society in London.
Hold it!
That rumor would be... Which rumor do you think? 10-year-old tale now, but one that no Londoner would ever forget.
Alright, I know just what you're talking about, I think.
Of course, it couldn't be anything else. Yes, that story will never disappear. Tale of the condemned killer rising from the dead. That is the central attraction of my House of Horrors. The rumor was whispered all over the city. It was like this. It was in Lowgate Cemetery behind the prison, in the dead of night after the execution of the killer. The interred professor slid back into the stone slab covering his tomb and emerged from his grave. The young man who witnessed this felt a scream welling up inside him. But an instant later, he heard an ear-splitting gunshot from over his shoulder. The bullet struck the emerging corpse, and he fell motionless once more.
I don't remember this part, the rumor.
The scream finally found its way from the mouth of the young witness who turned and ran for his life. The corpse climbed out of his own grave? And somebody shot him? Who was it? Nobody knows, even today. And remember, it was just a rumor, perhaps nothing more than a ghost story. Good people of London, they love stories like this. That's why it was in every newspaper across the capital. But was it just a story? I mean, this is exactly the scene that can be seen today in your museum, isn't it? The special exhibit was modeled on that very illustration. While afterwards, the contents of that article were reproduced in every newspaper imaginable. May I say something? Please, go ahead, mademoiselle. Something is described as a rumor, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's entirely made up. I believe that often, rumors contain elements of the truth. I see that people from the East can be just as astute as the people of Europe. Can we be sure, for instance, that the professor's execution was successful? Not possible for the dead to come back to life. Sorry? 10 years ago, I was there in Lowgate Cemetery, where the criminal known as the Professor was killed by hanging. I took a wax impression of his visage from the corpse just before it was interred. I assure you, the man was dead. I see.
Certainly appear that the condemned man suffered the intended fate.
The impression of the visage was taken directly from the corpse, in accordance with Tuskbell family principles.
Hold it!
Is that true of every waxworking museum, then? It is. Assuming the subject is dead, of course. My subjects have to cooperate in a similar way. I did not secure Sherlock Holmes's agreement. I will still have my waxwork model. I have letters from imprisoned criminals all the time, you know. What sort of letters? When my time comes, please make a waxwork of me. Call my car. No! The museum is famous, monsieur. Being into waxwork is an honor, and for some criminals, a symbol of status, even. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. Let's not make that remark. There's nothing says hardened criminal better than wax. This thanks to one killer in particular that my museum has gained such popularity in London. Refer to the star of the special exhibit, of course. Professor. Whose form you claim to have captured by taking an impression from the actual corpse. There are no exceptions to the principles of test spells. This is the grave digger and create a mold for the head in the cemetery just before the interment.
Hold it!
Surely that's illegal, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredibly illegal, but wait, no, not Fee-Fi Full Fun, that's Giant, I think. What the fuck is, like, a witch saying? Other than bubble, bubble, toil, and trouble, we already covered that one. You see, the proprietor of this repository of novelties was blinded by monetary greed. I prefer to call it professionalism. It had nothing to do with money. Man is part of London's criminal history. That's why I had to sculpt him. To record his history. It's the Raisin Child of the Tustell's Museum.
The man was convicted in a close court and sent for immediate execution.
Surely nobody but the members of the judiciary present know the killer's true identity. I assure you, behind that mask is hidden the true face of the professor.
Do you realize what you're saying? The professor's identity is a national secret!
I understand. Now the truth about the special exhibit has been revealed, it must perhaps close. Of course it will. As will your entire museum if you don't tread very carefully, madam. That could be another interesting chapter in the history of my family, I think, don't you?
Man, nothing says family history like that time I got my museum closed for becoming a national criminal, for spilling national secrets to the nation. Maybe they'll send me to that freaky prison with all those freaky inmates like the rock star and the dude who just licks spoons all day.
10 years ago, on the night of the professor's execution, you took a wax impression of his face from the corpse? Oui, esattamente. I hid myself until he gave me a signal. I was there for a very long time that night.
Hold it!
You were there longer than you expected to be? I had some difficulties in capturing the subject's form correctly. As I removed the mask, the mouth of the cadaver fell open, I had some problems with the chin. Ugh.
Dare I ask?
I have been dead for a short while already, you see. Plus, it was relaxing, and consequently, his chin would not align itself correctly.
Damn. Even corpses just drop their jaw to say it for I mean what?
Under normal circumstances, I would have an assistant with me. However, that night, I was alone. And as a consequence, I missed my preferred window of time.
What do you mean?
I take the impression of the visage as of a cadaver. I always wait until 3 hours after death.
Why 3 hours? Is that amount of time significant?
It's because of rigor mortis.
Really more? Why does the waxwork witch know more about rigor mortis than you, Ryunosuke?
It's a name given to a phenomenon that occurs in recently deceased bodies. As a rule, 3 hours post-death, the muscles in the body begin to stiffen. Approximately 10 hours post-death, the entire body is completely rigid and inflexible. And from that point on, the muscles slowly start to revert to their relaxed state. It's a pretty crucial component determining time of death. Yeah, the effect is often used to estimate the time of death when a body is discovered. Well, that was an education. A slightly scary one. As Mademoiselle says, rigor mortis commences 3 hours after death. And it starts in the jaw. I see, so that's why you wait. Before that time, my mouth falls open. It is very difficult to do my work. Ah! It's getting hard for me to do my work with all this talk of corpses. I wonder about that information the courts just heard from Madame Tussbells. Nah, we don't need it, right? I think I remember that I didn't hear any of those grim details and try to forget all about it. Thank you, ma'am. Please continue. Certainly. So you comprehend a little of the process now and why it took you so long that night? As dawn approached, I was very worried that could be discovered.
Hold it!
You say that dawn was approaching? What was the time of day then? Approximately. Well, I could not say. When I left the cemetery with my utensils and wax, the morning light was becoming visible. The execution took place on the 17th of June, which had the earliest sunrise of that year.
Indeed it did. First light would have been at around 4:40 in the morning. Ugh.
It really is early. Disgustingly early. The fact is I had very little time, so I finished my work in a half hour. It was necessary to complete the impression and bury the body before daybreak, of course. If somebody discovered me there, it would have been a catastrophe. I had to hurry, like I'm hurrying now! I'm totally not stabbing this bust of her like Sholmes because I want to! Isn't me and this Mr. Sholmes seem to be taking shape more quickly now, too?
You certainly appear to go extraordinary lengths for your work, madam.
I wonder, is what she just said particularly significant? Nah! All I really told us is that sunrise in Great Britain is extremely early at the highest summer, I suppose. Thank you, ma'am. That's all clear for now. How frustrating. I was not concentrating on Mr. Sholmes here, and I have taken away too much wax. Step. That's all I had to go on. What's your feeling, Mr. Naruhodo? For some reason, Dr. Sith went along with Drebber's plan. Now, if that's really true, the professor is the only other thing we know of for at least a pair of them. I feel sure that waxwork must be included in this mystery somehow. In that case, we must use this cross-examination to uncover exactly what it means. Otherwise, the jurors are sure to revert their leanings, and the trial will be over. I agree, but interestingly, discovering what the professor has to do with all this means more to Lord Van Zeeks than anyone. That's the impression I'm getting anyway. Yes, as do I. After all, he has a profound connection to the professor as well.
Hold it!
Wait, maybe it is significant after all. The information about rigor mortis that you just shared with us, would you mind including in your formal testimony? I believe it could be significant, you see. Of course, I do not mind. I do not mind at all. I can't help feeling that after this latest topic, the atmosphere in the courtroom has become extremely grave. Boo! Boo this woman. This is no time for jokes, Miss Susao. Leave those for your head like I do.
Kindly amend your testimony as discussed.
Yeah, sure. It'll be a very long time before, so it was before the onset of rigor mortis.
Hold it!
Rigor mortis being the phenomena you described whereby the corpse becomes stiff after death. I think you said that it starts at the jaw about 3 hours post-death. Is that right? Oui, c'est ça. Of course, the exact duration depends a little on the season. I didn't realize a waxwork artist would be so well versed in the subject. No, that's only elementary knowledge in the field of legal medicine. Legal medicine, of course. I had no idea about it, but maybe I won't admit to my ignorance about forensic science. As you should. I could ask my father to give you a very simple primer if you like. I think courses should be your domain. I'm not good with them. Oh dear, I'll do my very best. I guess I'm doing all the work, again, as always.
Hold it!
You know, maybe the sun is also significant. Ma'am, those details about how long it took you to complete the sculpture and the early sunrise, could you include them in your testimony? I believe they may be significant. Of course, if you would like me to. You're quite right, Mr. Naruto. It is intriguing. Sunrise at 4 in the morning. It would be absolutely unimaginable at home, wouldn't it? That's not quite what I meant by significant. I'll leave in your formal testimony then, madam. With pleasure, my lord. I hurried to finish my work in the half hour before sunrise, and I left as soon as the corpse was interred.
Hold it!
Did you have reason to believe you might be discovered once the sun came up or something? I paid the gravedigger money to keep my little secret, of course. But with the morning light, I knew that the warden from the prison would commence his patrol of the area. Then you just paid off the warden too, then? You think I'm made of money? I'm a witch, not a miracle worker. I repaid the gravedigger, as I said. You cannot buy the silence of everyone, or the secret is no longer a secret, huh? Sunrise was at 4:40 AM that day, which means I would have been around 4 when you began your sculpting work. That must be correct. That would be when the gravedigger gave me the signal to come out of hiding. Alright, 4 AM in rigor mortis. What does that tell me? Being confirmed at midnight, 17th of June. Wouldn't that mean that it was... Wouldn't that mean it took like 4 hours to get to it, though? Did I look at this before? I don't remember. Yeah, I did. Okay.
Objection!
So it was before the onset of rigor mortis, but death was at midnight, so rigor mortis should have more than 7 by then. I'm tough spells. I have here an autopsy report that was filed 10 years ago now. Confirms the death of the professor following his execution at the gallows. And is that a problem? I believe it is. Your testimony and a particular detail in the report completely contradict one another. Queh? Are you going to explain yourself, my Nipponese friend? According to your testimony, Madame Tespels was screening her wax impressions just before dawn. And at that time, rigor mortis had not yet set in. Am I correct so far, madam? You are, yes. As I said, the stiffening of the jaw is the first sign of rigor mortis, 2 to 3 hours after death. man's chin was limp, so he cannot have been dead for a long time. On the other hand, if you look at Dr. Sith's report, it quite clearly states the following. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th June. No! If the professor indeed died at midnight that day, then by the time you were sculpting his face, rigor mortis would have already set in. Wait, yes, you are right. Chin, it would have been completely stiff.
I don't even want to imagine. Considering how much the word stiff has come up by now, I really don't want to imagine the shit Lamp was saying at this point. In other words, this report is wrong!
Objection!
The coroner makes mistakes when recording the time of death. The very idea is absurd.
In that case, there's only one possible conclusion. The execution didn't actually take place at the stand time! Say it time! Impossible! Hola! Hola!
Counsel, this is beyond folly! Not only do you indict the author of the report, Dr. Sith, you also implicate members of staff at Barclay Prison where the execution took place!
Bark! Extraordinary! Yeah, Manji!
Objection!
My learned friend appears to have overlooked one very crucial fact.
What fact?
Professor died that night.
That question!
He did. Of course he did. I moved the man's limp jaw with my own hands. There was no...
Is this going in the direction I think it's going?
Yes, the professor died that night. But what if he didn't die at the gallows?
Didn't die at...
Are you insane? What exactly are you suggesting did happen in that case? It's almost impossible to believe, but we'll explain the link. Dr. Sith, the professor, and that one other person of interest. I think this will explain exactly what I'm suggesting happened that night.
Counsel, present the evidence at once. The evidence that allegedly explains what really happened on the night of the professor's execution. Is this going where I think it's going?
The only Aspen swap places with the corpse? Is that where we're going with this?
Take that!
What happened that night is written very plainly in this newspaper article. Executed criminal returns to the dead of night at local cemetery. You're suggesting it was a corpse coming back from dead now? That's impossible. Instantaneous kinesis is legit, but that's impossible. Well, this article is believed, yes. The professor, soon dead following his execution, emerged from his grave. It was killed again.
Objection!
Don't be a fool. That's simply a rumor published by the gut press. Can you be certain of that? Are you serious? The point is, as the article says, there was a witness to what happened.
My word, yes indeed!
Masui! The young man was stolen to the cemetery by chance that night.
Objection!
Of course there's a witness. The story didn't write itself. Obviously, the man made it all up.
In any case, this was 10 years ago now. There would surely be no hope of finding him.
Objection!
On the contrary, my lord, we all know this witness well. What?
You're suggesting, counsel, that you've identified the person in question? That you know who claims to have seen these utterly incredible events take place?
Yes, my lord. In fact, you could say that he's right here before my very eyes.
You'll substantiate your latest claim now then, counsel. Who was the alleged witness of the staggering scene from the cemetery 10 years ago?
Take that!
Oh no, we're not. Wait, no, they want Drebber first. Shit. I must say I'm quite staggered by the scene I see before me now, counsel. That young man with his eyes tightly shut, clearly pointing out a person at random.
At least have the decency to open your eyes and face the result of your blunder, for heaven's sake.
Jump the gun! Jump the gun!
Perhaps you should keep your eyes open when you collapse on the bench like that too, for safety's sake.
I'll bear it in mind.
Good job, Manji. We're proud of you.
Take that!
The man in question is Mr. Alec Drebber.
Drebber!
The previous witness?
Special exhibit at the House of Horrors at Mount Tusmos Museum of Waxwork. Recreates that decade-old scene in great detail.
criminal emerging from the grave, and beside the tomb, a young man with a lantern stumbling upon the terrifying sight. And that young man, the 10-year younger Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Order! 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 Surely not, Council!
Drebber was there, in Lowgate Cemetery. What's all this talk about Mr. Drebber? Is the name significant? Of course, Madame Tespel doesn't know, does she? Yes, it's extremely significant, madam. To your situation as well, in fact. What situation? That of the Professor Waxwork from your museum some days ago was perpetrated by the very same man. None. But that would mean... Tuspels. It would appear you know the name, Enoch Drebber. Yes, I know it. From long ago in the past. What? Oh my.
Good gracious!
Explain yourself. Tell us everything you know. Yes, of course. The story of the young man, the terrible sight he witnessed in the cemetery 10 years ago. It's published in every single newspaper in London throughout Great Britain. However, in all the articles, the witness was simply described as a certain young man. No details were published about his identity. His name was never revealed. As apart from in one newspaper. Daily Circus. The paper from which comes the article I've already shown the court. You're saying this full name was only publicized in that article?
Goodness me! Yes, here it is! University student who experienced a shocking event is Sir Enoch Drebber. A disciple of science at the University of London as a resident of its student dorms.
Unbelievable! I read the article. I wanted to meet with the man. Discovery of the condemned criminal coming back to life in the cemetery in the dead of night. It would make a perfect exhibit for my House of Horrors. Whether it was truth or not.
I see. So you went to meet Mr. Drebber in order to sculpt a waxwork of the man, did you?
Exactamente. Studying science at the University of London in those days, he was just a poor student. I paid him £5 a mile for the waxwork. Since that time, it has been in my museum to recreate the scene of terror from the cemetery. "10 years ago, a man appealed to the public about an extraordinary event he witnessed. The criminal had been put to death. We emerged from his grave in the middle of the night. But public figures claim it's nothing more than a music anthem that was soon forgotten. 10 years later, the same man steals a waxwork model of the executed criminal, ostensibly to use as a Bible for the victim of the case we're discussing here today. Even though the waxwork's bill is a poor match for the victim and his face is obscured by a mask. The question is, why would the man do such a thing? Which brings us to 3 days ago when the birdcage crashed into the Crystal Tower. The birdcage had in fact contained not the body of Mr. Asman, but that same waxwork. A coroner from Scotland Yard investigated Dr. Sith would have noticed immediately. Yet she submitted this autopsy report for the victim, which court has seen earlier. Why? Because the waxwork was that of the professor. Is that what you're saying? Dr. Sith put her name to a document confirming the death of a condemned criminal who was still alive. The criminal's apparent resurrection was witnessed by Mr. Drebber. That misconduct sounds like it was a deadly secret the coroner would do anything to protect. It was precisely why Mr. Drebber used that failed rascal as a body double. Ah! My lord! This court must summon Dr. Sith to the stand! This is determined! Why exactly are the coroner and Mr. Drebber connected? According to the missive I received this morning through the prosecutor's office, Dr. Sith is unable to participate in these proceedings. Is that not the case? She told us so herself, didn't she? Lord Van Zinks will be summoning me as a witness. But Strongheart has forbidden it. But Strongheart? Pandora's box you were warned about. The Professor case. Please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me. Something happened on the night of that killer's execution 10 years ago. Surely nobody would want to get to the bottom of that more than Lord Van Zinks. The prosecution calls the instructions in that missive to be scrapped. But Lord Van Zinks! The missive was issued from the Lord Chief Justice's office!
Objection!
The assigned prosecutor has the final say on policy in any particular trial. The prosecutor has more say in what goes on than the Lord Chief Justice? In other words, me. Yes! Leonard Drebber and Dr. Sith both take the stand together. Order! Order! Order!
Very well, I'll uphold your request.
Bailiff, send appeal with immediate effect addressing Dr. Sith of the First Investigation Team. Woman is compelled to attend Her Majesty's orders. Alright then, Enoch Drebber and Dr. Sith. If they weren't colluding with one another, this crime could never have been committed. I'm just a stone's throw away. I can feel it. The truth behind all of this is about to come out. Tuskbells just stays on the stand. Thank you for your attendance at such short notice, Dr. Sith. I'm disappointed in you, Lord Van Zinks. You have completely betrayed the agreed policy of both Scotland Yard and the prosecutor's office. Betrayal is not my nature, as long as the truth isn't compromised. If it is, if there's even a hint of wrongdoing, then no matter whom it concerns or disgruntles, I will pursue the matter to the bitter end, and totally not because I have special interest in this. This is 1900s London. They did not include the law about not having no personal connection to the case yet. This is why that law was made. As with any prosecutor worth his salt. Mr. Drebber, you took the victim's life by means of a machine that you constructed in your workshop. Dr. Sith, as the investigating coroner, you were the first on the scene to examine the victim's body. It's believed in the defense that you collaborated with each other and were both complicit in this crime. And where's your evidence? At present, we have no definitive evidence, but we do have a very significant clue. What are you talking about? I'm talking, of course, about the waxwork. Mao the killer known as the Professor was sentenced to death 10 years ago. You don't need to tell me. I witnessed the man's execution with my own eyes. I officially pronounced him dead. I even talked to him on the phone afterwards just to make certain. That remains to be seen. Is that so? According to newspaper reports from the time, on the night following his execution, killer came back to life. Don't waste my time. The sole witness to that mysterious event was you, Mr. Drebber, wasn't it? what you saw in the graveyard that night 10 years ago wasn't some chilling fiction, but reality. It'll make you privy to a very great secret of Dr. Sith's. A secret so profound it could compel the coroner to agree to collaborate with your evil scheme, in fact. Mr. Drebber, tell the court. Tell everyone the truth of what you saw that night in Lowgate Cemetery. Who's the one who saw it? You can see the resemblance, actually, can't you? What's the man test spells, I mean? Surely it's not going to claim that's really what he saw, especially not after all these years.
He was a research student at the University of London, was he?
I'm too clever for his own good, if you ask me. An interesting twist. At the time, not one person would take me seriously. Now here we are, 10 years later, and suddenly my story matters. And a court of law, too. Very well then, if everyone so wishes. Let's be frank, I'll tell you the truth of what happened that night. For what it's worth.
Oh, Mr. Drebber, your testimony, please, about the events of that night and 10 years ago. Tell the court exactly what you stumbled across in Lowgate Cemetery.
Yes, of course, as you wish. In the cemetery 10 years earlier. The reason I was in Lowgate Cemetery at all 10 years ago was for a spot of moonlighting, shall we say. Yes, the illustration in that newspaper article was based on what I witnessed that night. Thinking back now, I realized I never actually saw the professor. Soon afterwards, I was visited by a young woman who sculpted a model of me from wax. I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist. It was all because of that newspaper article. Wait a minute! You're claiming you didn't actually see the professor now? Of course, you have to have a screw loose if you believe a corpse can come back from the dead.
Ah yes, and if there's one thing we can tell about you, there's absolutely no screws loose. Look at you.
But, so you're saying this article is not worth the paper it's printed on? I think that would describe it perfectly, yes. Ah! Details in the article aren't true. Nullifies your argument for why Mr. Drebber and Dr. Sith will have been working together. But he's discrediting himself to cripple my arguments?
That's dedication! Let me witness. You claim to have been in the cemetery on some auxiliary business. Can you elaborate?
That's right. Grave robbing, to be precise.
Not only am I a liar, I am a grave robber! You can't believe anything I say! Throw it all out!
As you know, Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison. Some among students of the university have a reputation for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts.
Grave robbing, you say?
Yes, exhuming fresh corpses in the cell is reasonably lucrative. Of course, I never lay a finger on any valuables buried with the dead.
You can surely believe it after I've not only called myself a liar, I've called myself a gravedigger.
You were one of the so-called resurrectionists, particularly unpleasant scourge on society. Actually, my fellows and I went by another name. The Repurposers.
That's quite beyond the pale! You invite divine retribution, sir!
Yes, well, I think I suffered retribution enough.
Daily Circus eventually unearthed my name and put it in print. Caused me a great many headaches, and yet I had to leave the university. That was the only paper with a bad grace to identify me unambiguously, I might add. I see. Out of interest, who drew the illustration for this article? Yes, that was the reporter who exposed me. He sketched that right in front of me as he described the scene. Obviously, as time ticked on, I bitterly regretted what I had done. Maybe to have seen something I never truly saw. Foolish, very foolish.
Well, counsel for the defense, you may proceed to the cross-examination now.
At once, my lord! In the cemetery 10 years earlier. The reason I was in Logate Cemetery all 10 years ago was for a spot of moonlighting, shall we say.
Hold it!
By moonlighting, you mean grave robbing, do you? Surely you only need to look at the graveyard to see my appears to gauge the answer to that. Lantern, spade.
So, okay, now we know that...
Barrack Van Zeeks is on the side of spade. This is important information. Who on earth would want to buy a dead body? Any major hospital? Hospital?! No one better understand the human body. The study of anatomy is crucial to medical science. There isn't a hospital in the world that has enough specimens to work with. Well, obviously, they can't openly express an interest in obtaining more by dubious means. As aspiring scientists, we young research students had no money to work with, as I'm sure you can imagine. We made surreptitious arrangements for the hospital via some of our medical student acquaintances. We would never take anything of value from the graves. That was all for the furtherance of science, you see.
That's what we all told ourselves every time we stole into the graveyard night, spade in hand. Drebber is also on the side of spade.
You realize body snatching is a serious crime. If you were caught, you could expect the gravest of consequences.
Oh, this man?
It seems we're caught between the hammer and the anvil. We need funds for research. Professor Hairbrain said exactly the same.
I'm quite speechless that you paid levity with what you revealed as abhorrent behavior.
Well, if you want to know why I was there at Logate Cemetery, that's the reason. I never expected it to end the way it did. That I regret to this day.
I regret the fact that I was caught and publicized. I regret my actions dearly for being caught.
Yes, the illustration in that New Fever article is based on what I witnessed that night.
Hold it!
Strange happening at Logate Cemetery, which you now deny. Not entirely. I went to fetch the police at the time, you know. I was shaking like a leaf. I didn't believe a word of it. I thought I was very nearly arrested myself, as you probably should have been. So went to the papers instead? So I big with the London News. But unsurprisingly, they didn't want to know either. And those reporters from the gossip rights and the gutter press that came to get my story. I spread like a plague through the capital as gossip-hungry Londoners lapped up the tale. I can just hear journal number 2, like, piping in, like, yes, I remember reading it quite well! So I was in every single paper at the time with the exception of some broadsheets. Yet only 2 or 3 of them actually interviewed me personally. The accounts turned out to be very interpretive ghost stories. What about the article in the Daily Circus? That particular journalist found me in my dormitory. I don't know how, but he discovered my name. But I can't know exactly what happened that night. If you were the description, he drew this illustration? Precisely. How I learned that the condemned man was the infamous professor. As the reporter told me so, I had no idea myself, you see. Newspaper reporters are wont to stoop around matters that don't concern them. Damn the press! The scene portrayed in the illustration is accurate, then.
Well... Back then I realized I never actually saw the professor at all, though.
Hold it!
What are you talking about?
I think I explained already, didn't I? Logate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison. It's renowned among the students of the university for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts.
Yes. That body I saw walking around, that was not a dead man walking, it was a ghost. That's a much more reasonable response.
For some obscure reason, I was scared of the graveyard at night. As a result, only too willing to believe that nonsense about the dead coming back to life.
But you say you actually saw it!
Instead of what I see in my mind's eye.
After all, resurrection is impossible, isn't it? You have to be unhinged to think otherwise. And there's one thing any of us in here are not, it's unhinged. You can just hear in this man, he's totally hinged. That's of course.
You have some evidence that proves I encountered the professor that night?
I don't know. Is there any material evidence that could show he really did see the professor? Anything at all, Mr. Naruto? I know, any person that can say irritatingly backtrack a statement of his.
Well, yes, that night was a pivotal moment in my life. Soon afterwards, I was visited by a young woman who sculpted a model of me from wax.
Hold it!
A young woman named Madame Tussbells, of course.
Precisely. I say I didn't expect to run into her again like this 10 years later.
As I have explained, I've read the name published in the article in Komaka I found the man. It's the article in the Daily Source, I think you said.
I was a poor student with barely a penny to my name at the time. The young lady put £5 in front of me. So you readily consented to having a waxwork of yourself made and gave permission for it to be put on display. I did. I should sell what little I had to sell, I concluded.
Ah, oui, I remember now.
I purchased something else from you that day, and then said, Pa.
Oh?
Did you? I can't say I remember.
What was it, madam? The camera. Ah!
Oh yes, I made a point of taking you with me whenever I made an excursion to any cemetery.
Took a camera with you, sir. To what end?
To record the details of the bodies I disinterred. I had no intention of ever visiting a graveyard again after that night, so I sold it.
Ah, yes, if there's one thing I totally will never need again after this trauma, it's a camera. Nothing else I can use a camera for. Just taking pictures of their bodies.
I see.
I still have it, monsieur.
It is part of the special exhibit in my House of Horrors. I'm very meticulous about such details. This is Tussbell's way. It would seem then, this is the very camera Mr. Drebber took with him to the Logate Cemetery on the night in question.
Yes, interesting.
I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist. It was all because of that newspaper article.
Hold it!
This article, you mean? What was in the Daily Circus?
Now somebody informed the dean that was my name that appeared in the article. Carelessly let slip that night after night I was digging up graves. Hardly a model student, you might say.
University's reputation's Okay, that's not usually the word I see.
execrably.
Execrably?
University's reputation as execrably defiled, and I was expelled as a result.
Why did the X not work for a moment there?
Dude, had no idea. Having been run out of university, you found employment in a somewhat specialist trade.
You combine your knowledge of science with knowledge of stage magic. You make various experimental machines intended to demonstrate never-before-seen technology. You use those deceptive machines to trick the government and private investors into giving you money. Professor Albert Harebrine was just your latest victim, wasn't he?
What are you talking about? I don't recollection of doing anything of the sort.
What's Drebber up to? He recently changed his tune and regained his claim.
And perhaps it's because his circumstances have changed now.
What circumstances?
Well, if he admits to having seen the professor emerging from life from his grave 10 years ago, we'll expose a secret in Dr. Sith's past that you would definitely want to hide.
Yes, of course! If Drebber and Dr. Sith are working together now, if Drebber were to betray her, there would be no reason for her to continue to cooperate. In that case, there's only one way around it. I'll have to prove he really did see it. Prove he really did see the professor's corpse coming back from the dead, as he originally claimed. Yes, Mr. Naruto, exactly.
What I'm thinking is I'm supposed to present the camera because I'm just pointing out, like, you gave up the camera, but you didn't give up the film, but that's not really a great argument, I feel.
It's incredible to think that this is the actual camera Mr. Drebber used that night. I certainly never imagined a piece of evidence would be on display in Madame Tuspel's. It's very keen on everything being as true to life as possible, though, isn't she? Wonderful machine. You really like contraptions like this, don't you? Oh, yes, anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible. Almost irresistible, surely. Whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart. That's worrying.
Wait a minute. Wait. We were all this before. What am I thinking?
For that matter, since we're kind of going on the assumption that, Courtney Sith's a collaborator, this autopsy report becomes a lot more dubious, doesn't it? I'm gonna quickly run through the. I don't think there was like a interjection spot in the middle of these press statements. I think.
Hold it!
don't know,
Alright, let's try the initial thought of presenting the camera, pointing out that there's no, thing for throwing the photographs.
Objection!
Nah, that's not it. At the very least, it's not that statement. I knew what this said exactly. What am I thinking? No, we never did bother to open this up. It seemed like Tuskbells did have a key, but... It seemed like Tuskbells did in fact have the key to this, but... Then we just kinda got sidetracked and just never bothered to open this, huh?
Hold it!
Still got the camera in the picture. I feel like there was something that mentioned, like, the thing had no photographic play or whatever, so that meant, like, it didn't have the... That meant, like, it didn't have the film? I forget the exact wording.
but there's a big part of me that honestly wants to throw the science trophy at like the last statement. I don't think that proves anything. It doesn't help that I don't actually know when the science trophy was like acquired. I don't think that's it now. I think the idea of the trophy is that's supposed to be like we're supposed to like talk like old war. I don't know.
Hold it!
Yeah, there was no, like... Oh yeah, clarify for me or anything like that. I think I already, like, repressed all these, ugh.
Hold it!
Oh boy, I'm starting to lose it again, oh no. I thought I was doing well for a little while.
Hold it!
I feel like I need to re-review, like, the presses. No, wait, hold up. No, for some reason I thought I had to open this first before they make a remark about how there's no photographic print here. I don't know, because I already presented the camera here, so that would have been like my major, like, suspicion, but oh boy, oh boy. I might have to end stream soon because I feel like I'm just like starting to spin my wheels here. Like I'm not actually 100% sure what I'm supposed to present here. I don't want to like get into the habit of throwing random shit at the wall to see what sticks. just one thing I want to see about trying.
Objection!
No. Not yet. I know it's gonna come up later, but I'm not actually sure when. Like, it has to be something on this middle statement, right? So we have to prove he actually did see the professor. But if it's not the camera, if it's not proving that he took a picture with the camera and kept the film with him, I don't know what it could be then. There's some other significance to this photograph, or was this literally just for... I don't know, I'm spinning my wheels at this point, I think. I feel like this should be obvious. I feel like I'm just missing something stupidly obvious. I'm just not seeing it. Ugh. What is it about this case that's really fucking me up? Like, I feel like there hasn't been a single case in any of the games that has, like, completely fucked me up as much as this one case. There was one thing before when it's just like, oh, I just don't get the magic trick. Now I don't get this, and I feel like this is not the part where I should be, like, finding myself in a rut. I don't know. The only other thing I'm thinking is to point out the fact that in the article, it mentions that, like, someone was behind them and shot the body. Maybe pointing out the fact that, like, someone else had to have seen that, but I don't know. That doesn't feel right either. If this is wrong, I think I'm just going to end the stream and I'll take some more time to re-review everything. Fuck!
Objection!
Holy shit, it was actually... At the very least, that was the right evidence. Jeez. I was thinking that, like, I was also kind of thinking that, like, since this is kind of the piece of evidence he's currently refuting, maybe that's not the right response, but Ace Attorney has done that in the past, where it's like, oh yeah, that evidence that, like, we're currently talking about, that's also the evidence you need to present. I'm not a big fan of those moments. Those are the ones that always throw me off the hardest. Sorry, Mr. Drebber, but I don't believe that. Don't believe what? Your latest claim. You did see the professor on that night 10 years ago. Oh dear, we seem to be at odds. I was there, and you were not. I know I didn't see. The illustration with this article was drawn based upon what you told the journalist that you witnessed. Oh wait, maybe this is the part where we're finally pointing out the fact that it was Odie Asmon's name on there. Figure emerging from a tomb wearing an iron mask. Yes, when the killer was tried 10 years ago. It was decided in the closed court's ruling the man would wear the mask to hide his identity. It wasn't to be removed even during his execution and subsequent burial.
Not even the prison wardens were to see the man's face. Obviously, the provision of this mask was not public knowledge.
No, Mr. Drebber, have you just heard? Ah! A lowly student at the University of London certainly wouldn't have known about the condemned man's mask. Don't think you actually seen the professor that night. Inconceivable the artist would have included the mask in that illustration. Wait, that's where we were going with this whole time? Oh. Okay, I just pressed X like 4 or 5 times and it did not work, but square worked perfectly. What the hell? Something's up with this controller. Ah! Order! Order!
Well, Mr. Drebber?
It's a vile scene, isn't it? If you look closely. I've already been at pains to point out I was utterly petrified. That's why I had my head I'd see such a blood-curdling sight. Afterwards, I came to my senses. I realized that I'd been mistaken. You're still saying you didn't see it? You're suddenly sticking to that story, witness. Amend your testimony to explain exactly how you think your eyes deceived you. Of course, only too happy to oblige. We're not out of the testimony yet? Can't believe you still are going to concede the point! I, in fact, witness was a fellow grave robber at work. What?
Hold it!
No grave robber? What are you talking about? I wasn't the only one busy in the cemetery that night, you know. Other body snatchers were at work. Of course, when I saw one emerging from the hole he dug, my heart very nearly stopped. That's the terrifying sight I actually saw, you see. I'm claiming it was just another stew in an equally insalubrious business as yourself. And the medical students would made a metal mask to protect them from bacteria during dissections. Plenty of fellows use this to mask protect us at non-immunity. When you say...
Objection!
There's more to the story, isn't there? It goes on to say... Next second, a gunshot rang out suddenly from behind. Hole pierced the resurrected man's chest. whose weapon still wants more?
You might assume the Sixtons discovered the mysteries at work, perhaps? Fired upon one of them?
If Gravedigger shot someone in the cemetery, I think it might have been rather big news, my lord.
Ah, yes, well...
I assume it was an embellishment bolted on layer by the reporter.
Oh? Oh?
Embellishment? As I explained earlier, most of what the papers published about those events were fabricated nonsense. Journalists had a great time fashioning it into a horrifying ghost story. So, now you're saying there was no gunshot? That's right, yes. I'm afraid so. Ah! I mistakenly thought I'd see a corpse coming back to life and then fled the scene. That's what really happened.
Hold it! Objection!
Strange.
Oh, shit.
Excuse me!
Oh, save me, man, tough spells!
Not tough spells!
Doesn't get out, Mr. Sholmes.
Ooh la la, pardon. I was lost in my thoughts. Would it be fair to say Mr. Drebber's last remark was significant to you in some way? That was a little strange, that's all. I'm sure Drebber could claim this now. Don't mind me saying, madam. What are you talking about? Well, when I met you 10 years ago at your university dormitory, you commented to me about your adventures in the cemetery, you know? Including the gunshot. Stop! Oh. You might want to watch your tongue, you know.
Objection!
Care, Mr. Drebber. There's no way to speak to a lady. Ugh. Please, man, tough spells. Carry on. Of course. According to what Monsieur Drebber told me at the time, I did hear a gunshot from behind him, and the bullet hit the condemned man. I said nothing of the sort! No, you were very explicit about the details. But the mask that the figure was wearing, and the blood that splattered over you when he was shot.
Oh, here we go.
Enough! Shut up, woman! You're making this all up!
That will do! Mr. Drebber!
Yes?
You feel the account just given by man tough spells?
No recollection of ever saying those things. Come on! Do you really expect us to believe you?
Control yourself, counsel. I'll not permit baseless accusations in my courtroom.
Right.
Under the circumstances, I think it best you supplement your testimony with a statement to clarify your position on this witness.
Very well. There's no gunshot from behind me at all, nor any splattering of blood, nor any spattering of blood. We'll see about that one.
Hold it!
The man tough spells has testified that you told her about both of those details. Not true. I said nothing of the sort. 10 years have passed. Without material evidence to the contrary, you have no grounds on which to question the witness's word. Ah! Tell me, Madam Tough Spells. We? What exactly did Mr. Drebber say about the blood that apparently splattered on him? Lord, this is what he told me. All of a sudden, he heard a very loud gunshot from behind his back. Well, hit the figure who was emerging from the tomb in the middle of the chest. In his heart.
One dreadful say after another.
As Monsieur Drebber was at the time facing towards the condemned man. Blood sprayed from the wound and spattered onto his body. That's what he told me. So, not an experience you would ever forget, is it?
Precisely, and I didn't forget it. Because as I've already said,
It never happened in the first place. He's clearly lying. We had some evidence to prove it. can't let him win, Mr. Naruto. We must overlook a single detail, no matter how small.
No blood, huh?
Objection!
Mr. Drebber, do you remember this camera? But that's the camera from that fateful night. Yes, we borrowed it from the house before.
Wait, did we actually steal the camera?
The camera you took with you to the cemetery that night, Mr. Drebber. And is that supposed to be significant? This kind of camera is rarely seen in our homeland, so my colleague and I were keen to examine it closely. Notice that the lens extends forward on the end of some bellows. Like this.
Hold it!
Is that the first time we've heard Van Siegs hold it? I don't think we've actually heard him hold it before. That's new. Normally, even the very, very rare circumstances where prosecutors or anyone else gets to hold it is almost never a voice. Because I say that, I think Gregson how voice hold it, but I think he also did not have a voice objection. So they're being very inconsistent about the hold it rules. They don't know how they want to hold it.
Is that there, just on the bellows? Looks like Dark Red's sane. Ah! That's right. It's a rather conspicuous mark here on the bellows, in fact.
Good lord, are you suggesting...
Yes, my lord. You appear to be a spatter of blood. Something that could be confirmed with a simple chemical test. Isn't that right, Dr. Sith?
I mean...
It would be difficult to determine if it was human blood or not the blood of some animal. But yes, to test whether or not it's blood all is simple enough. Suppose that Mount Tespel's testimony was correct. And other than in question 10 years ago, you were spared with blood from the gunshot wound.
Well,
And that furthermore, you really did witness the condemned professor emerging from his tomb! Ah! There's simply no way you could have forgotten such a traumatic experience! In other words, the only explanation that you're trying to hide the fact that you saw a professor that night.
Objection!
Why? Why would he want to do that? Well, not for his own gain, it would seem. Who could benefit? Mr. Drebber is obviously lying in order to protect somebody.
my goodness, he's shielding someone? Wait.
Yeah, I thought about it a little while ago, but we were really going in this direction of, Drebber wasn't the killer, he was the accomplice to Dr. Sith being the real killer. Honestly, thinking about it, that would probably make a lot more sense at this point, especially with that contract in place. No real motive, but if Sith had a motive... Yes, my lord, and clearly... someone who doesn't want the truth about the professor coming back to life to be exposed.
Well, Council, who is it then? Who is this witness trying to protect by lying about what he saw that night?
Take that!
The obvious answer is Dr. Sith. Sith.
Whatever do you mean?
Imagine if the convict who'd been sentenced to death was not in fact killed. Imagine if that was to come to light. What are you insinuating? Imagine if the convict in question was the country's most hated mass murderer. If it was the professor, that would be an unprecedented scandal.
Objection!
This is beyond a joke. The appointment of the dead cannot come back to life. What you suggesting would mean the execution never actually happened. Yes, that's exactly what it would mean.
Objection!
Once a man is sent to the gallows, he hangs. No one could escape, not in Great Britain.
Objection!
But the fact is, there was a witness to the fact that the man did escape his hanging.
If that were really true, Council, the implications of misconduct would not stop at the supervising coroner. would taint the honor of the entire judiciary from the ground up.
It's exactly because of those monumental repercussions that consist of any demand made for by someone who's threatened to expose the secret. Even if that meant being complicit in a crime.
You mean?
I mean that Dr. Sis wasn't collaborating with Mr. Drebber's wicked scheme. She was coerced into collaborating in order to protect her decade-old secret. She switched the dead body of Mr. Asman with the wax model and fabricated the autopsy report. Ah!
Food!
Lord Van Zeeks! Pray forgive my freshly filled hollow chalice and a whole raft of other discourtesies now.
Goodness me!
Just the sort of tall-tale Londoners would enjoy, I grant you. Execute killer rising from the dead, Scotland Yard cover-up, conspiracy at the highest levels. So let me ask you one thing. What's that? The condemned man really did emerge from his tomb that night only to be shot in the chest. Who pulled the trigger and disposed of him forever? Well, I have no idea at the moment. Too little information to work that out present, I think. I couldn't agree more. The Old Bailey is no place for wild fantasies. Ugh. And have you considered this, my learned Nipponese friend? Third what? You realize just what a dangerous endeavor would be to coerce this woman into such criminal activity. Tantamount to declaring war on the entire British police force and judiciary.
Quite. What imagining some of the money being offered for research could warrant it.
To rely on some station session when so much is at stake would be madness. Well, I suppose... If this was no paid crime either. It was murdered. A man who's already invested money in the venture and be instrumental in future profits too.
Yes, I had no reason to kill Mr. Asman at all. You forgetting that his death resulted in me receiving not a single penny.
Of course, already aware of the contract between myself and the victim, no?
It was the contract, that's very true.
Well, for this case runs deep, though. You can feel it. Using threats to force the head of the forensic investigation team to cooperate is extreme. Especially for a government grant he had no guarantee of receiving in the first place. The research grant was the aid. Taking Mr. Asman's life would have made no sense anyway. Which means... Mr. Drebber's motive wasn't money at all. He was just trying to kill Mr. Asman. Why? What was his motive then? Wait, I think I discussed this before. He probably just wants revenge because Asman was probably the reporter. Time is up, my learned friend. May you have one last chance before the jury lose their patience with this charade. See if you can back up your heady proposals, shall we? How do you explain why this engineer would throw all caution to the wind and threaten his own country? Also, I really hope that the Castlevania sound went through, because now I'm uncertain with that whole alert box fiasco. Then again, last time I thought something wasn't playing, I wound up with egg on my face. Ow!
At this point, I'm not prepared to listen to more of this outlandish conjecture without proof. So, Castle, present your evidence.
Alright, who exactly was Mr. Asman to Drebber? A connection there that no one's seen yet. I'm going to have to present 2 pieces of evidence to show what it is. Yes, my lord. If it establishes a motive, explains why it is one of the victim's days right here.
Take that!
Just pulling this one out again.
This newspaper article, my lord, that was written 10 years ago, and every detail's been examined already. What can it possibly tell us?
Dribble should never have been written! Typical gutter-press nonsense that means nothing!
Yes, on its own, it isn't particularly significant. However, when considered alongside another piece of evidence, it will completely explain your motive for wanting Mr. Asman dead. Other evidence.
Also, you will present your supplementary evidence without delay. The evidence, which when cross-referenced with the newspaper article, establishes a motive for the deed.
The contract? Because it's the same signature?
Take that!
It's this contract, my lord! Mr. Drebber, this is the contract you signed with Mr. Asman.
Yes, that's right. The very document, in fact.
It proves I had no reason to kill the man. No, I'm afraid not. What? Something very significant that this newspaper article and the contract have in common.
Really?
And it's that common link that shows very clearly why you were determined to kill Mr. Odie Asman. It seems the defense has uncovered something the rest of us have missed. So, my learned friend, point out what these two pieces of evidence have in common. Where exactly is the link between this newspaper article and the contract? Do you think handwriting analysis is a thing at this point in time yet? Oh well.
Take that!
What these two pieces of evidence have in common is a signature.
A signature?
Signature on the illustration that accompanies a 10-year-old article and the signature on the contract belong to the same person! What? Ah! As the court has heard, this illustration was drawn 10 years ago, and the newspaper reporter found Mr. Drebber and interviewed him about his ordeal. If you look closely, the reporter's signature can be seen in the bottom right corner of the drawing. If you look at the contract here, which was signed between the witness and the victim last year, you can clearly see Mr. Asman's signature at the bottom.
Let me see now. Good lord, yes! They're identical!
In short, the journalist who drew the illustration and wrote the article published about Mr. Drebber 10 years ago was the victim of this case, Mr. Odie Asman.
Objection!
I believe his knee joints need some reoiling. Explain to the court why. Why would that constitute a motive for the witness to murder Asman? Well, if you think back, you'll remember that Mr. Drebber talked about that article in his testimony.
Grave robbing, you say?
Yes, assuming fresh courses of sales reasonably lucrative.
That's quite beyond the pale! You invite divine retribution, sir!
Yes, well, I think I suffered retribution enough. Daily Secus eventually unearthed my name and put it in print. It caused me a great many headaches, meaning I had to leave the university. That was the only paper with a bad grace to identify me unambiguously, I might add. I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist. It was all because of that newspaper article. At the time, you were a student at the University of London who dreamt of becoming a scientist. However, this single newspaper article changed your entire life.
Mr. Asman used to be a newspaper journalist, did he?
He did, my lord. In fact, it's a widely held belief that Asman managed to position himself at the heart of his criminal network. Thanks to the many dubious connections he made during his time as a reporter. I'm trying to remember if they ever brought that up at any point, like, earlier in the case. So you had to give up on your dream and leave university. You lost everything. Eventually you found yourself working in the field of science, but only in the shadows. And all because of that article, written by Mr. Asman. Enough! This endless trouble about my life. What?
Explain yourself, Mr. Drebber.
Yes, it's true. I had to leave the university as a result of this article. It was just the straw that broke the camel's back. What mean? Almost every student of science in the faculty was too poor to actually conduct any research. They struggled on with their hypotheses anyway. We all did. We'll have them taken by vultures. Sooner or later, you knew your ideas would be stolen and patented by some wretch or other after all.
Gracious!
Making a name for yourself as a scientist on a climate like that. It's a miracle only a select few geniuses could ever hope to achieve. Personally, I wasn't one of those geniuses. Okay, sure. So it was hardly a wrench. Being forced out of university because of Logan was the best thing that could have happened to me. Mr. Drebber, you're so full of shit. Do you genuinely believe that? Of course I do. Who's better placed to know whether or not I possess a talent for science than me? I'm sorry to say that your words don't ring true at all. How dare you! I have evidence to prove it! How are you in a position to say anything about me? I don't know you from Adam! I don't know you from Adam! Fine, you think you have evidence? Go ahead, show it! What could you possibly have to disprove the idea that I was happy to leave university because I lacked talent? You won a major award! It might not be a stupid lamp in the shape of a leg, but it's still a major award!
Take that!
Do you remember this, Mr. Drebber? I found it at your workshop. Is that Royal Society Trophy for Excellence in Science?
What exactly is this trophy, Council?
It's the greatest honors can be bestowed on a young scientist, my lord. There's no higher accolade. It recognizes emerging talent and promises a bright future.
Good gracious!
Prospects for the future were excellent, weren't they, Mr. Drebber? Because even then you were a genius in your field. You lost everything. You had no more future. Your talents would go to waste. All as a result of this one newspaper article. I don't know when you realized who Mr. Asman was, but when it dawned on you that he was the same journalist who 10 years ago ruined your life, it's abundantly clear that you had no intention of forgiving the man.
The truth is...
Finally, he's going to fold.
Oh, I wouldn't bet on that, Ryunosuke. Who's holding it now?
Fine. Clearly this has run its course now. What? I admit it. All of it. What? What are you doing? Exactly as the Japanese man said. I was coerced into going along with this man's plot to murder the victim. He intentionally kept my dirty secret from 10 years ago. No.
Good lord!
The sight... Do you realize what you're saying, woman? It's all true. That day, I committed a great sin. Just like when I was a doctor. I mean... When I arrived at the Crystal Tower and saw the birdcage, my heart nearly stopped beating. A memory from a decade ago that I'd done my best to bury deep inside myself. It's the professor again, staring me in the face. Then, before I had a chance to react, I noticed something else. There was a note tucked inside the model's jacket. That's it, you will go along with my plan. Someone who knows the truth about what really happened that night 10 years ago. All the instructions were there in the note. The details meticulously written out. No choice but to do what it said. Made the necessary alterations to the scene and fabricated the autopsy report as instructed. There's really no other choice. It had to be done to protect the judiciary. I can only apologize now. Why on earth would you buckle now? Well, there's no point trying to hide it anymore, is there? I would have done anything to stop it coming out. You can collaborate with a murderer. The great lie about the execution 10 years ago has been exposed. Whatever happens, I'm finished. So then, Mr. Drebber, what do you say to that? Your accomplice has admitted everything. Truly goes without saying. You made your part in it too, then? I admit nothing! At all! What? Have you forgotten that the Kinesis machine was ripped to shreds by an explosion? Sure, me admitting to a crime. There's really no possible way for you to prove I did anything wrong. No! Order! 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 Whatever this man says, I admit everything. He threatened to expose my secret, so I went along with his plan. Lord Van Zeeks. Yes. I hope you'll accept my apologies. What happens next is in your hands, of course.
I've heard more than enough now. I hereby present the final findings of this court. This trial is not a proper forum in which to pursue the alleged wrongdoings of Mr. Drebber. The defendant is Professor Albert Harebrain.
Very true. It slipped my mind.
Isn't he one of your closest friends?
As the court has heard, Dr. Sith has admitted to the allegations brought by the defense, thereby absolving the defendant of any possible guilt.
This is not Ace Attorney. This is not Ace Attorney. What is this? You're not seriously gonna be like, oh yeah, I guess this proves the defendant didn't do it after all. If the coroner is literally admitting that there was no body. What? Guess it couldn't have been him. Let's all leave. Excuse me? You mean?
At the present time, it's the conclusion of this court that the defendant was not involved in any wrongdoing.
They're gonna pull the rug out from under us somehow.
Does the prosecution have any objection?
None, my lord.
Oh, congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo. Prove Professor Harebrain's innocence.
Without further ado, then, the education. Unless the prosecution or defense have any other matters to discuss.
I don't know. This doesn't feel quite right. This isn't how all my other cases have gone. Normally, I solved the case by now. Well, except for Magnus McGillis, but that's a weird case anyway. We don't talk about that anymore. I was on the verge of solving that one. Why did Dr. Sith suddenly admit to it like that?
Is everything alright, Mr. Naruhodo?
You said before, the way the trial is set to end now, the judge will certainly deliver a verdict of not guilty. Is that really what we want? What the defense should be pushing for now is... You gonna make me pick? Nah, I did my job. Let's leave. We're done here. If the judge gives his verdict now, Professor Harebrain will be found not guilty without any doubt.
Nothing troubling you, perhaps?
Yes, but probably nothing. In the antechamber during the recess earlier,
didn't give Mr. Sholmes my word, though, didn't I? I did give Mr. Sholmes my word, though, didn't I? I told him I'd pursue any doubts I have about the truth to the absolute last. Give Mr. Sholmes your word, then most certainly is nothing. It means there's only one right answer here. Yes, you're right. I don't know why I was ever wavering.
Your choices matter.
Objection!
The defense objects to the trial ending at this time, my lord. The trial is going to go on for so much longer. I'm going to get my closure, damn it. Another time. It's almost 3. Well, I don't need to end strictly like by 3 o'clock on Thursdays, but I do actually have to work a little earlier than usual today, and my throat's starting to bother me a bit more. Also, I need lunch, so I think I am going to go ahead and end the stream now at this cliffhanger of sorts. Something tells me we still have a pretty long way to go. It's not going to finish up in the next half hour or so. So... Oh no, you didn't save your game though, we're gonna lose your progress! Okay, alright, that's enough out of me for today. I'm going to go eat lunch and get ready for the job. Ugh. Alright, thank you everybody for joining me. Thank you to the VOD watchers. Next time on the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, maybe hopefully we'll actually finish case 3 and I will not, like, absolutely flounder for, like, 20 minutes on one question. Again. For, like, the 4th time in this case. However, I am still planning on streaming tomorrow and going back to Virgo vs. the Zodiac tomorrow, because, man, I wanted to do, like, Virgo streams every week, but, that didn't quite pan out. I was hoping that I'd actually finish up, like, the route I was on by the time Virgo season ended, but I don't think that's happening now, so I gotta get back on that. I gotta get back on that horse. The one thing I also gotta do is I need to actually go and set up VTube Studio on my phone. I did make a tweet about it, but I do finally have a phone that can actually support VTube Studio. So I need to actually set that up proper now. I'd say Jake help me, but by the time I get back to work, I'm pretty sure Jake's gonna be in bed. So I'll see about doing that proper after I get out of work. Thank you everybody for joining me, and I hope to see you on the next stream. See you then.